Well, you are complaining about a difference in treatment that between you and your brother. I don't know the exact situation. Maybe there is some kind of injustice that's taking place. But you said that you were uncomfortable because your schedule is not accommodated in the same way that your brother's schedule is. So he is more comfortable than you.
No, that's not what I said.
Then what did
I
you
think
say?
that if you don't listen with an open mind and an open heart,
No, just explain it.
understand.
No, I have an open heart. Please explain.
My comfort is not equal to my brother's. There's nothing more to it.
Can you please define that, because that's a very broad general thing that you're saying. I think your parents might be offended that you are complaining about them in this way in a public.
It's not about the nail, brother Daniel. We're not trying to find solutions. We just want to talk and vent our problems. That's all we want to do, mate. Brother Daniel is doing an absolutely stellar job of academically annihilating feminists. MashaAllah, it's not something that I can't do because I don't have that type of academic rigor in the same way our brother Daniel does, MashaAllah. But this sister is demonstrating what women who get into debates demonstrate time and time again, which is, I don't want to go into the details because that would require me to reveal to you the nothingness of my argument. Can you please just hear me? And it reminds me over and over and over again of that bloody advert. It's not about the nail. Type it on YouTube, 21 million views or 22 million views. If I play it here, I'll get a copyright. She doesn't want a solution. She just wants to be heard. Whether she's right or wrong is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. She just wants to be heard. And this is not right, by the way. This is completely wrong. And Daniel is doing the exact thing he should be doing, which is trying to peel back the onion layers and find out what the hell is going on. She's not having a bar of it. Let's continue.
I don't know the exact situation. Maybe there is some kind of injustice that's taking place. But you said that you were uncomfortable because your schedule is not accommodated in the same way that your brother's schedule is. So he is more comfortable than you?
No, that's not what I said.
Then what did
I
you
think
say?
that if you don't listen with an open mind and an open heart,
No, just explain it. No, I have an open heart. Please explain.
My comfort is not equal to my brother's. There's nothing more to it.
Can you please define that, because that's a very broad general thing that you're saying. I think your parents might be offended that you are complaining about them in this way in a public forum. Why are your parents not taking care of your comfort in the same way that they're taking care of your brother's?
Yeah, sister, I understood the same way as Brother Daniel did. Are you saying that in terms of domestic help, your brother doesn't help as much as you would like him to help?
What do you mean?
No, let her define. Let her explain what is the lack of comfort that she has compared to her brother. And I want her to think about it in terms of her parents, because your dad and mom have different roles, perhaps. Correct me if I'm wrong.
This is a public platform, so I will not disclose any of my family's information. But
you just disclosed.
She's refusing to answer Brother Daniel's question. And know this, the only time somebody refuses to answer a question on a debate platform like this is when they know that by answering the question, it will defeat their argument, or it will unravel their argument, or it will expose the holes in their argument. It's the only time people refuse to ask a question. And the classic statement is, oh, that's personal. Oh, I don't want to reveal those things. That's private. No, you're on a public platform. You've already exposed half of your dirty laundry already. Okay, you at least your profile picture is hidden, but your friends and family will recognize your voice. The only reason you are withholding this information is A, because you don't know how to answer it, which will unravel your argument, or B, because you know that if you do answer it, it will place you in a quandary, because your argument will be exposed for the nothingness that it is. It's the only time people refuse to answer a question.
It was a lot about your family, so why can't you answer that? Explain why. What does your dad do? I asked who takes care of the bills. Who is the one who's the primary breadwinner? Who has to go out in the world and toil and break his back to make sure that you're comfortable, that your mother is comfortable, that your brother is comfortable? And he said, yes, your dad is primarily responsible.
Why are you saying when you talk about men and their work, you say words like that? You say sentences like that. They go out there and they break their back.
Yes, that's the reality of work.
But women are disregarded too.
Women also work. Women also work. I didn't say that women don't work. But there's a difference in the nature of the work and the difficulty of the work and the danger of the work. Why do you think the life expectancy of men is so much lower than women? Why? Because men are living a comfortable life, especially in the Muslim world, right?
I didn't come on here to talk about statistics. I'm explaining to you as a Muslim sister. I just wanted to give you my viewpoint, along with many girls.
I don't want to talk about statistics, i.e. hard facts, i.e. reality. I just want to come along and talk about my viewpoint, i.e. my feelings. It's not about the nail. Yes, I've got a nail in my head. I don't want you to tell me that there's a nail in my head and that I should take the nail out. This is the advert. I want you to tell me how hard it must be and acknowledge me. No, we are not acknowledging you if you refuse to engage and interact on a facts basis. if you refuse to engage with reality, I'm sorry, we're not your emotional tampon. Brother Daniel's not your emotional tampon. You got your girlfriends for that, to moan and groan and woe is me about how hard your life is, although it probably isn't. That's what your girlfriends are for. If you're going to come onto a public platform with an educated individual, someone of the caliber of Brother Daniel, he's going to ask you tough questions that could potentially bring about solutions to your problems. If you refuse to engage, now you're trying to use the moderators and Brother Daniel himself, or the panel, I should say, as emotional tampons. We don't care. We want to talk about facts and figures, not feelings.
Almost every girl that I know.
Well, this is the problem. Your viewpoint has to be based on reality, not...
Almost every girl that I know, which is what, 3, 4? And therefore, because almost every girl that you know, 3 or 4, feels a certain type of way, it must mean that all women feel this type of way. No, that's not reality, as Brother Daniel's about to say.
Not a myth that you've been fed because of feminist nonsense.
What's a myth and what's reality?
The myth is that you think that you're being abused. The myth is that you think that you are the victim of a system that is oppressing you. That's the myth. And you don't recognize that your brother and your father also have to toil, and they also have to work, and they also have to suffer, and they also have to be uncomfortable. That's the myth.
I've never disregarded any work that they've done for me.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I think sister, in terms of reality, obviously you can only answer about your family, and that's the reason. It's not to get personal with you or anything. Do you actually feel that in your home there is some discrepancy in the gender roles?
Yes.
Okay, so that is something that Daniel has nothing to do with, right?
No, I want her to clarify. I want her to clarify why. Yeah. What's the discrepancy? Where's the injustice? Point to me that something unjust, and I will be truthful and honest and say that is wrong and unjust. But you have not done that.
Like I said, I don't want to disclose too much.
But we need to know the problem if you want.
Like I said, I don't want to disclose too much. The only time people don't answer or refuse to answer a question in a debate format, specifically, is when they know that by answering it, it will defeat their argument or it will start to poke holes in their argument. That's the only reason why people refuse to engage or answer a question that's been asked of them. Oh, I can't because of A, B, C, D, and E. You've just hung out your dirty laundry on the internet. What's the difference?
The solution. You came here hoping for a solution, I hope.
No, she came here to complain about men.
Barakallahu feek. So our brother Hashim here says, you've come here looking for a solution. I'm sorry, brother Hashim. Most of the time when women come onto these panels, they're not looking for solutions. They're looking to vent their problems. That's it. It's not about the nail. And brother Daniel correctly pointed out, no, she's come here to complain. And she wants to be validated by these men on the panel about how right she is for feeling the way she feels. And wallahi, it just reminds me of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, with regards to women. يَكْفُرْنَ الْعَشِيرِ or يَكْفُرُونَ الْخَيْرَاتِ. They are ungrateful. Ungrateful for the good that their husbands do towards them. Ungrateful. In this instance here, she's referring to her brother and her father.
That's the problem. When any girl tries to tell you or explain to you...
No, don't generalize. Don't generalize. Just answer the question.
Answer what question?
If you think there is something...
What's the injustice that you're suffering?
Then you tell us, even if it's general, don't be specific.
I came here for a message to brother that he is very insensitive.
What? What do you mean you didn't come here to talk about your life and your injustice? You literally started this. If I played you the first 8 minutes of this video, and I'll put the link in the description, it was just complaints about her life and the injustice that she's feeling. No, I've come here to tell you how I feel and I want you to validate me. No, we are not validating you. No, you will not be validated if you refuse to engage in some form of surgical dissection, questions, an analysis, a post-mortem if you like. We need to uncover what's really going on. Just because you feel, and this is where this BS comes from, of my truth, my reality. There is no my truth, there is no my reality. There is the truth, the objective truth, and then how you feel about it, which is completely detached and unrelated from the objective truth. If you feel some type of way about the objective truth, that's a you problem.
When it comes to women, and just like right now, he has demonstrated.
Sorry, you don't get a pass. Like, you came onto this forum and you want to ask questions and we responded to you. If this is insensitive to you, then don't come to this forum. If you feel offended by anything that we're saying, just don't participate. It's very simple. We're not trying to hurt your feelings. You called into this show.
I'm not saying that you've hurt my feelings. I don't care about my situation, and I didn't come on here because of my situation. I was just trying to explain majority of women's situation. And I think when you talk about women, and you talk about what women do...
Okay, majority of situation, that's statistics, right? You want to talk about the majority of women, right? So that requires statistics.
Well, I'm speaking about women that I know.
Okay, that's not majority. The women you know are not the majority of women in the world, right?
I'm talking about the majority of the women that I've seen.
Okay, that you have seen. That's not the majority of women. I've seen perhaps more women than you've seen.
You see them with a different viewpoint.
Yeah, it's subjective.
Here we go. Once again, subjective, my truth, BS. No, just because you are surrounded, subhanallah, just because you are surrounded by this small circle of women who may or may not be accurate in their perception, by the way, of what they're feeling, doesn't mean that that's the truth of the world, of what all women are experiencing, or all female experiences, for that matter.
Because if you're going to talk about majority of only the people that you know, that is subjective, isn't it? We cannot know exactly which women you're talking about. What problems?
If it takes statistics for you to understand a woman's situation, I think that just shows that you can't.
I don't think Brother Daniel only brings it.
Subhanallah. She really believes that statistics, not only will it not help this discussion, but that it only hinders, because I'm going through this, or I feel like I'm going through this. I feel like I'm going through this, therefore it must be the truth. It doesn't matter what statistics and objective reality is, doesn't matter. It reminds me of something that Tate said a while back, that women don't engage in an argument with, what was it that he said? They don't have any, what he said was, they don't have any morals when it comes to arguments or debates. They don't care about the reality. They just care about winning the argument by hook or by crook. And although obviously that was an exaggeration on his end in terms of his wording, there is a lot of truth in that. In that once a woman gets emotionally invested in an idea, come hell or high water, she will defend it. Objective reality, to hell with it. It doesn't matter. Stats, facts, irrelevant. I feel this way, therefore it must be.
Hey, don't say that we don't care about women. I don't know about these brothers. I have a wife. I have many female family members that I take care of and I love, and I have an open heart towards. Don't say that I'm insensitive. Don't project these kinds of things on me. That's not fair. You don't know my relationship with women.
So, sorry, sister, I want to go back to the very first point that you raised with regards to hijab, or something about sisters who wear hijab do not get raped, or something like that. Was that your perspective of what Daniel actually believes?
What was my perspective?
I don't know, you mentioned something about hijab and rape.
I thought that Daniel, he could have adjusted in a different way. He adjusted in a very insensitive way.
So what do you think was the point that Daniel made that you were uncomfortable
It made me feel bad.
with?
I was uncomfortable that he was saying that he was disagreeing. It was almost like he was disagreeing with what the girl said.
Okay, so why didn't you ask him the question now?
I already stated it in the beginning.
Okay,
No, my response. You want me to respond to your claim that was insensitive, or you just want to assert it?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, Daniel, why did you reply to her tweet in that way?
So what I find insensitive, and in fact I find it quite offensive and wrong, is when these feminists, or people who are not feminists but they talk and walk like feminists, say that hijab doesn't have any kind of practical benefit. Yes, I know that people in hijab can be abused. People in hijab can be assaulted and harassed. Yes, unfortunately, that is a sad reality. But that doesn't mean that the hijab does not protect women. That does not mean that hijab does not shield women from harassment. It does not mean that the hijab does not protect women from the kind of abuse that the women who dress naked and dress in all kinds of inappropriate ways experience. Right? The hijab has a practical benefit and a ni'mah, and it's a ni'mah for the believers. And that's why Allah has prescribed it amongst many other reasons. So to say that this kind of feminist point that, oh, people in hijab also get sexually assaulted. Okay, so what? People who wear seatbelts also die in car accidents. That doesn't mean that the seatbelt is useless or it has no practical function.
Okay, when you say it in that way, it can sound like the blame is on the woman.
That's a projection. I didn't say that.
And I'm telling you, that's why I'm here to tell you that.
Right, well, then I corrected the misapprehension of what I said. And as I did in the tweet and in the comments, I have to constantly make this.
I'm so glad that Brother Daniel is shooting straight with her and not bending to her shaming tactics. If you felt a certain way about what Brother Daniel said, sister, that's a you problem. That interpretation is upon you. And the analogy was perfectly clear, very easy to understand. Seatbelts do not provide 100% guarantee against death, but they sure do bring the likelihood of you suffering a fatal injury right down. Hijab is not a blanket guarantee that you will not be sexually harassed in any way, shape or form from a man whilst you're on the streets, but it sure does bring the likelihood down in a big way. Shout out to Brother Daniel doing his thing. Follow the Muslim Skeptic. He's got some very, very interesting content there. The type of content that I don't have the knowledge to be able to speak of on that type of level with regards to the history of feminism, for example, its roots, its historical roots, and many other things connected to it as well. So make sure you follow the Muslim Skeptic, inshallah ta'ala. If you want to watch the interview that I did with Brother Daniel a few months back, you can find it right here or here, one of the two places, and make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel before you leave, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.